What's going on, guys? Drone worship in your face, and as you guys know, I've been messing with the underwater ROVs for a while. Sorry about the look of this room right now. We just moved in and we're getting things under control here, but I've been testing the Gladius, which is another underwater ROV platform. But in the testing of that, I also managed to talk to a company, which is FiFish, and this is the Qysea underwater robot. They're calling it the underwater robot. Is the Qysea FiFish. This is also an ROV platform, so we're going to go ahead and crack this open, and we're going to see if we can compare a little bit between the Gladius 4K underwater drone and the FiFish underwater robot. So let's get this thing apart. I'll see you guys in a sec. Alrighty guys, welcome back. So this is the FiFish P3 from Qysea. This is a demo model. This has been reviewed by other reviewers already, so I have no idea what condition this unit is in. It's actually quite heavy. We're going to go ahead and set it on the table here and see how we can open this thing. Looks pretty clean. Now this says it goes 100 meters deep, which would put it right along the line of the Gladius up there on the shelf, which also goes 100 meters. That's around 330 feet under the water, roughly. And so let's get this thing open and see what the differences are if we can here. Alright, let's try this again. FiFish. Let's see what this is here. Got an interesting little container. This is probably the manual. Operations. Yes, quick start guide. Okay, so I have to remember how all this goes. Let's go ahead and put that back in there. Have a look at this unit itself, if we can. Okay, how does this pop off? There we go. Ooh, look at this thing. Alright, I'm going to set this over here for now. Let's have a look at this unit. We're going to take a look at the controller first here. This is kind of set up like a DJI setup. This has a very DJI feel to it. I like the little white things they got on there. You can tell this has definitely had some use. It's a little dirty. It's got some scratches on it, so a little banged up by some of the other reviewers that were playing this. But I assume if I push this, yep, okay. So, pretty snappy. But you know what? I'm going to point out immediately that even though I like the feel, it's a very ergonomic quality feel, this is only going to allow a very small tablet, and it doesn't look like you can rotate this at all to put a larger tablet in it. So it looks like you're probably bound by something like a very small tablet or a, an iPad mini, something along those lines here. So interesting stuff here. Looks like camera button. I believe it takes 20 megapixel stills, and I believe it can record in 4K at 30 frames per second, probably 1080 at 60, a few other. Looks like it has high and low speeds that you can make quick adjustments for, so if you're underwater, I believe you can click that pretty fast to make adjustments. This looks like your roller for your light controls, so you'll be able to make it brighter or dimmer very quickly, so very cool. I do like how this looks though. The setup of this is very good. It feels quality. I mean, this whole setup just feels really, really good. I just wish they designed this for a little larger tablets maybe. So let's set this aside. We'll go ahead and put this back in here. Let's have a look at the unit itself here. Let's get this wire out of the way. See if we can get the unit out of here. Oh, carefully. This thing's packed in here pretty good. Ooh, and she's heavy. Oh yes. Alright. Let's go ahead and set her down. Have a look at this thing. So this is the Qysea. I don't even know how to pronounce this. Qysea P3 is what it looks like. And shoots a 4K camera. It's got 3 brushless motors, one for vertical depth, and then you got your side propellers for propulsion, forwards, backwards, left and right turning of the fuselage. We're going to call it a fuselage for this. It's got almost the same, I want to say they are the same. It's got the, I will make you a bet, they are basically the same lights that are up there. Those are 2000 lumens, and I believe these are also 2000 lumens on the front of this. Very quality design. If you guys know anything about these ROV platforms, they're not cheap. These are basically professional grade underwater ROVs, especially being able to reach, 330 feet below the ocean. That one costs roughly $2,000. That's the Advanced Pro model from Gladius. This also runs around the same price point, roughly. If you guys are looking for a link in the description, it will be in there so you guys can see the pricing. Check out the website, see what you think. Overall, though, I think this looks very good. I like the design of this a lot more than I like the Gladius, but there are downsides to this, and I'm going to go ahead and explain that to you. So the Gladius actually has 4 brushless motors on it, 2 in the front and 2 on the back for propulsion forward and backwards, as you can see. And what sets that apart from this is that that can actually adjust its pitch forward and down, whereas this does not have the ability to adjust pitch. It can only go down or up, and forward, backwards, left, and right. This one, the Gladius, has the ability to lean the nose down or lean it up and fly. I call it fly. Basically flies under the water like an acro mode, whereas you won't have that with this. This is fully stabilized, but it does have a really cool feature that allows you, I believe, to auto-lock your depth, which is super cool. That's something the Gladius does not have. The Gladius is full manual controls, basically. You can have it in stabilized, but it's not going to hold its depth very well. It'll constantly kind of go up and down, especially if you're moving too fast. So this apparently does not have that issue, and the stabilization, from what I understand, is pretty good. So we'll have to test that out. Initial thoughts, I like it. It's extremely heavy. It looks very cool. It's definitely very, very cool design compared to the Gladius. The Gladius looks more like an actual submarine, whereas this looks something very, very futuristic. I definitely love what they were going for here. So we're going to drop this back down in here. And this does have a 2-hour runtime, if you guys were curious, which is the same as the Gladius. The Gladius also has a 2-hour runtime. But there are things that I've noticed that are cool and not cool. So let's pull this spool out. Okay, somebody wrapped this spool, so that's very cool. We're going to go over a few things that I did notice here. Let me tilt this down a bit. So what's neat about this one that the Gladius does not have is this little piece right here is actually a locking mechanism, which goes into a starport here. It goes down, and I want to say it twists and it locks into place, so it takes all of the tension off of the cord here, if you guys can see that. And I think that's actually a very, very good design. With the Gladius, it only has the attachment on the top where you can only screw it down, and then all of that, pressure from the drone and what it's doing is going to be right on the connection piece, which I think is a downfall. But with this, you don't have that problem. It actually allows you to, jerk and yank and get caught on things without worrying about pulling on the cable too hard. Now, I'm sure the tensile strength is roughly about, it almost feels identical to what's with the Gladius spool that's down there. It feels identical. So I'm guessing this is probably roughly around 200 tensile strength. 200 pounds of tensile strength, so you can probably yank and pull on this pretty hard if you needed to. I'm not really digging the spool here, though. I wish they had, like, Gladius is a tad bit different here. I'm going to show you what the Gladius spool looks like so you guys have an idea. So this is the Gladius spool from Chasing Innovation, and I kind of had wished they had gone with a setup more like this for the FiFish from Qysea, because this allows you to just automatically take your cable, connect it to the drone, and then it has this wonderful spool that you can just attach the handle to and wind it up when you're done. So it also floats as a buoy, so you can take this off if you want, and this actually is completely 100% waterproof, and it can float around and drag the buoy with it. So this is a very cool setup from Chasing Innovation. So each of these are going to offer something just a tad bit different from the other one. Obviously, they're two different companies, and but I definitely have always liked this design. I like what they did here. So I'm curious if this is going to have some kind of stand. Let's see if we can get this out. I think you have to push down, pull up. Excellent. So we'll set this aside for now. Let's see if it comes with a stand. That would be really nice if it came with a stand. There's definitely something in here. So let's see. Nope. Just the chargers, the charge ports for this thing. And that appears to be it. So no spool stand. That's really interesting. I'm gonna have to go through the rest of this box and take a look. But as of right now, it does look very cool. I would have loved to have seen this model come with some kind of spool design. I'm really irritated that it doesn't have one. Though it looks cool, it looks like I'm gonna have to put a stick in the ground or something, and I don't know how I'm gonna ravel this thing back up when I'm done. I guess I'm gonna have to do it by hand. So I hope that this is just a demo model and it actually comes with something a bit different than this, because that if it does come like this, that's actually quite disappointing, I would say. So I would be a slightly frustrated with the price point of this thing if it came like just like this with no spool to attach it to. So the Gladius came with a backpack, another backpack, a whole spool kit and everything for the $2,000 price point. This is roughly around that, but it does, like I said, guys, they're two different companies. They do things a little bit differently. This has a cheaper remote that attaches to it. They both shoot in 4K. They're both capable of 330 feet. They both have 2 hours of runtime. They both have 2,000 lumen bulbs on them. So just a little bit different than each other. But this is kind of frustrating if that's all that it came with. So I'm going to have to figure something out for that before we take it out and test it. But this is the first look at the Qysea P3 from FiFish. I hope you guys enjoyed the unboxing. We got a little bit more coming for this. We're going to do some more videos. We're going to get an opportunity to take this out to the water. This is Drone Worship, and I'm out. Toodaloo.